So in a couple of my recent videos, I realized I need some new tongs. I don't really have anything that fits in the 1/4 inch range, and you may have seen me struggling with tongs that didn't really fit right, having my hands way too far open or too far closed, and you know, the old elbow doesn't really appreciate having to squeeze too hard. So that's what I'm gonna do. Are some split jaw tongs. These are farrier style tongs, and that's almost exclusively just aesthetic. It's nice because they don't sit well on a rack, and the handles like to splay out and get in the way and cause problems. So for that, they're great. Having a little bit of a larger jaw surface can sometimes be beneficial, especially if it's something that you're trying to hold, you know, at a really steep angle without having to go like to a full T or a 90-degree bend. Gooseneck tongs, I think is what they call them. These are not terribly difficult to make. I think this pair was made out of 1/2 inch by 1, and they're a little excessive in the boss area here. They're a bit chunkier than they need to be, but they're a little bit over 3/8 of an inch, and that's way too big for 1/2 inch. Really 5/16 would be appropriate. For 1/4 inch, this is definitely going to be gross overkill. I'm going to go ahead and try to make a pair of these. They are fairly quick. The only thing that gets kind of tricky is the way these jaws fit. The two rein halves actually nest into each other this way. These little points are actually left over from the splitting process, just because, I guess. I don't actually know why they do it that way, but I think they look kind of cool, so I do it also. But they are backwards from the way you would normally expect to make a set of tongs. I mean, you know me, I figure it's a complicated project, why not go ahead and make it harder? I'm going to be making these out of 3/8 by 1. This is 12.5 inches, and I chose 12.5 inches because why not? I just got done making this guy to help facilitate the splitting process. I don't really have a good handled chisel for splitting, and this process definitely works better with a handled chisel than it does with just a straight traditional style chisel. So if you can, I would definitely recommend having a handled chisel for that part. I've got a mark for a little bit more than an inch. It's like 1 1/8 inch, 1 3/16 maybe. It's probably going to be more than I need. That's okay. Also, ideally you want to mark these on opposite sides of the bar. I marked this one both ends on the same side, so I'm doing it with the mark up. I don't know if that's going to show in the video, but I figured I'd make that point just in case anybody is curious. I don't remember how I did this before. Oh, there we go. Alright, so this part here is just an example of one of the many ways I like to make life harder on myself. And what I'm trying to do here is upset our bit. We've gotten too cold already. Too cold and cold shut. I'll have to file that out. Again, these are the wrong tongs. Again, with a better pair of tongs. And this next spot, you can see our jaw comes from the mouth, and we've got the boss area, and then we've got this detent here. Some people like to do that over the horn with a fuller and help, you know, people with friends. I don't have the fuller, I don't have the friends, and I don't have help. So I just use a rounding hammer and a corner of the anvil, and we just bang it down and make do. A little more than we need for the boss. Up, whack. And we are wanting to bend a little bit. So this this tweak is a feature, not a bug. We do end up straightening it a little bit, but for the most part, we actually want that there because that's going to be our bend for our handles. And just bend that back down, and boom. And that is pretty much it for the end. Now we just poke a hole, and then we repeat on the other end. But they're pretty simple, if complicated. Alright, so I've very literally just finished making this guy, and this is what we're going to split with. So we've got our interchangeable handle. That fits in there really nice. And I am mostly just going to eyeball this. Jinkies. Okay, maybe we don't use this one anymore. Ooh. So, I was cutting the ends of these with my half-round chisel, and it decided to shatter on me. This was made quite a while ago, and I was mistaken about the way S7 gets heat treated, and basically was not tempering it nearly far enough. So yeah, it was basically still at full hardnesses. So I tried a couple different things to fuller down and made a little bit of a mess. So I've got to clean a couple things up with a file. Now we just got to taper and round and prettify everything, and then we can rivet them. So, there we go. Still wet out of the quench bucket. I did a little bit of quick filing off camera. I evened up the ends and squared them off. They're still a little more chunky than what I was originally expecting, but they fit my expected stock size really well. I may end up adjusting a little bit to get them to sit a little bit wider or narrower, depending on how they feel while they're in use, but they're pretty, but they hold pretty solid. So this also means I've got some room for adjustment as they wear. So and I did not have time to finish both of them today, so I will finish up the other pair another time. Fortunately, this is the only set that is kind of urgent and like actually a problem. So I forgot to stagger them before I riveted them together because I'm rushing. So you saw me kind of mess around with a fuller in the Hardy tool holder, and kind of messing around to get them lined back up, but now they're back straight and in line with each other the way I like them. And yeah, so I guess I'm gonna have to cut this there, because if I don't get into the house before my wife comes looking for me, I'm going to be in trouble.